Hey guys, welcome to No Filters, Just Freedom, the show for people who are ready to stop shrinking, start rising, and live with unapologetic audacity. My name is Jasmine, I'm a life coach, and I'm here to guide us all through this journey of bold, authentic living. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys had great weekends. I'm hoping that you're feeling rested and prepared to take on what this week has to offer. So today, on this glorious Monday, we are going to talk about honesty. Yes, the thing we claim we all want until someone actually uses it. Like when your partner asks, "Does this make me look fat?" and suddenly you feel like a UN diplomat negotiating world peace. Welcome to the paradox of modern relationships, where honesty feels like betrayal and deception gets called kindness. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna be honest about how sometimes telling the truth feels like we're committing a felony. Why "I'm fine" is the biggest lie since the check is in the mail. We're gonna talk about how to stop treating your boundaries like they're made of wet tissue paper. And most importantly, why telling the truth is the most radical act of love, even when it burns. So let's start by exposing some nonsense. First, there's the idea that good people keep the peace, and peace means silence. I don't know when this came into being, but peace does not equal silence. Your opinion and your words do not have to be divisive and do not have to offend people. If anything, they don't. And if they do offend somebody, that's their own personal problem. That's them not being able to handle another person's opinion, another person's thoughts. They're feeling insecure. It doesn't have anything to do with you. You do not have to be silent to keep the world balanced. Not how that works. You have every right to speak, you have every right to feel, and you have every right to get your point across, and that does not mean you're starting World War III. The belief that if I'm nice, people will be nice back is a fantasy sold by people who like taking advantage of kind-hearted people. All of us who have shared a meal or let someone borrow money who claim they would give it back all know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you can do the right thing and sometimes you don't get the good thing back. It's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. That's how the world works. Life isn't fair. Does not mean you should stop being a good person. Doesn't mean you can't be nice. Doesn't mean any of that. That doesn't mean you need to be some sort of callous, hard-hearted person. It just simply means that sometimes life isn't fair. Sometimes you don't get what you give. And that is okay as long as you understand that truth. Again, doesn't mean you have to stop talking. Doesn't mean you have to stop being who you are. Just simply means sometimes life's not fair. And we gotta roll with it. Another dangerous belief is that if people wanted to change, they would. The reality, most people actually need mirrors, not mind readers. You can't see what you don't see. You can't know what you don't know. If I knew how to change, I would. If I knew how to be a millionaire, I would be. But most of us don't know how. And it takes someone showing us how and giving us an alternative look for us to be like, oh, wait, that's what's really happening? Because sometimes we just can't see ourselves the way other people see us. People will not change if you suffer silently. They'll just assume you love suffering. They'll just assume you like being a doormat and you don't need anything. People will continue doing what they're doing unless someone tells them not to. People work like Newton's law. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted on by an outside force. Why should I change if no one tells me not to? So people aren't going to change just because they're bored and just because they can. Something and someone has to show them they can be different. And lastly, brutal honesty is not the same thing as being mean. That is a bold-faced lie. Being mean is not being honest. The truth is that brutality is in the delivery, not the truth itself. If you ask me, how does this dress make me look? And I tell you, it makes you look like a big pink bubble with hair, don't be mad at me. I'm giving basic human communication. Look, my friends know I'm a naturally abrasive person and I've had to work really, really hard on my delivery. But we also had to compromise in our conversations. I'll learn how to be more gentle if you stop asking questions you don't want to know the answer to. It makes zero sense for me when people say, hey, let me ask you this, and then they get the answer and then somehow they're butthurt. Like, you should have never asked me. You didn't actually want to know. You didn't want an answer. You wanted to hear what you want to hear. That's a different thing. You're asking for validation. You're asking to have a subjective opinion and feel good about what you want to hear. You didn't ask for a factual truth. You didn't ask for that. You didn't actually want to know the direction that your question went. You simply wanted to hear what you want to hear. And you know what? That's okay too. You just need to say that. You just need to be open and honest and upfront with what you need and what you're looking for. There's nothing wrong with that. You just need to tell what's up. One time, I had a friend who, we've been friends forever, but it was like early on in our relationship. And I felt like she just spent time trauma dumping on me, and without even asking about how I was, how my day was, what I'm doing, if I'm in the middle of some sort of crisis. None of that happened. I would just get a phone call and it would just be like trauma bomb, and we would just have to figure that one out. And I told her that. I was like, hey, I just feel like I'm your dumping ground, and I'm kind of over it. And I don't like that feeling, and you don't even bother caring about me. So do you even care about me? Man, I said that. She cried. I panicked. For weeks, I wished maybe I could have said it better because I hurt her feelings, and I just didn't know if it was the right thing to say because I was just fed up. So I just spoke my truth. And it was all like this until one day she said to me, thank you for telling me. It hurt, but I can work on that. That's when I learned that discomfort isn't danger. Now we have this whole thing where she asks if I have space for an emotional moment. Y'all, miracles can happen. Because I do often have a lot of space, but it's great when someone asks me if that's possible. I mentioned it before, my love language is words of affirmation. So if you take an opportunity to ask about me and verbalize wondering if I'm okay, you'll get a lot further. That is honey over vinegar right there. So, we worked that out. I learned how to have better delivery with my honesty so that I didn't make her cry. Sometimes I'll say things like, hey, let me build you up. Let me love on you. This is just my personal opinion, but it doesn't make it true. And then she just learns to stop asking questions she doesn't want to know the answer to. And she asks me if I have space. It's a great symbiotic relationship. We all can have it, but sometimes that doesn't happen until you start with brutal honesty. But still, once you're honest, sometimes you're left with this icky feeling. It's the honesty hangover. You get that feeling when you set a boundary. But that feeling isn't guilt, it's withdrawal. You're detoxing from a lifetime of people pleasing, and it's uncomfortable. Those symptoms can include, I'm overreacting. Overreacting usually means that your needs are valid. Or when you say, I should have waited for a better time. Hey, newsflash, there's never a perfect time. And 3, now they think I'm difficult. And difficult people get respected. It's okay to be difficult. That's their problem, not yours. Here's the secret. The more you do it, the less it feels like diffusing a bomb and more like returning the wrong food order. No, this isn't okay. And no, I won't pretend I enjoy it. That's kind of how it works. Advocate for yourself. Honesty simply means you're advocating for yourself. Repeat after me. My truth is not an attack. Their reaction is not my responsibility. Say it again. My truth is not my attack. Their reaction is not my responsibility. Write it somewhere, post it somewhere, put a sticky up, make that your mantra. It's not your job to be worried about your truth and how it comes across. It's your truth. So people aren't always going to accept that though. So you gotta find ways to come back and still have a response when people try to push back on that boundary. When things get awkward, when it feels like the waters are kind of treacherous, what do? When you're dealing with family, you can have someone that's, hey, I want to be all up in your life. You can say things like, I love that you're passionate about my life choices, but if I wanted a TED Talk, I'd Google it. That's a funny way of breaking down what needed to happen. Or if they say, after all we've done for you, and it feels like a guilt trip, you can just simply say, I can be grateful and need different treatment. It's okay to feel 2 different things. It's okay to be grateful and require something different. Different doesn't mean more. It simply means different. When you're dealing with friends and, maybe you have that one friend who's always late, you can look and say, hey, 30 minutes isn't fashionably late. I could have watched an episode of The Office late. Please don't disrespect my time like that. Because it is. That's a long time. We're not talking 5 minutes. We could be doing a lot of other things. And I should have gotten a heads up for it. It's okay to speak that truth. Or when people call you overly sensitive, you can call them out and you're being avoidant. Now, maybe we should talk about both of this, because if someone is calling you overly sensitive, it's because they're in denial about what they said and how it came across to you. You can apologize and validate for how something came across without feeling like you can't be honest. It's what growth looks like. It's how adults handle things. So tell them they're being avoidant and deal with both things. Write these things down. Then screenshot them for yourself. The first time you use one of these, you'll feel like you're committing a crime. That's how you know it's working. It's uncomfortable, it's working. We're detoxing people. We're showing our honesty even when it's uncomfortable. So here's the hard truth. Some relationships can't survive honesty. But ask yourself, was it ever really a relationship? Or were you just an emotional employee with crappy benefits? Because that's what it feels like. An emotional employee with crappy benefits. Again, somebody's emotional trauma dumping ground. There are real signs in a relationship that you weren't getting true love. The signs you want to look for is that they punish you for changing. They're like, oh my gosh, it's not fair. And now we have to act different. And I guess I can't give you these things anymore. And I guess I don't have space for you anymore because you changed. It's a load of crap. It's another tactic of being avoidant. They don't want to deal with the truth and the reality of your growth, and now they're blaming you for it, and it's toxic. Another issue you can have is that your needs are treated like an inconvenience. When someone's like, oh, now I have to go about my business. Oh, now you want me to talk to you this way. Oh, now I have to do X, Y, and Z. That's not love. Love gives freely. Love appreciates and doesn't mind growing and changing with you. Oh, you said that this makes you feel better? Awesome. Let me do that for you. I want to make you feel good. I want to make you feel loved. I want us to have some sort of growth and amazingness together. That's real love, not being like, I can't believe I have to change my life for you. Another example of it's not being love is, the good times we share require your silence. If it's good because you're not speaking, it's never good. Someone should not step on you and destroy your voice to make something good. They're feeling insecure. It's an inferiority complex. You should have every right to speak and vocalize your opinion and live your life without feeling like, oh, if I do this, we're not gonna have a good time. It's negative. Everything is so much better when I just go with the flow. Everything is so much better when I agree, even if I disagree. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You can have your own opinion and speak and be valid and love and still have a healthy, good relationship. And if it's not good, then it's not healthy. So here, truth bomb. The right people adjust to your honesty. The wrong ones will reveal themselves. That's how that works. If you start feeling these signs of being unloved, they're the wrong person. You do not need these unhealthy people in your life. It's actually disrespectful to yourself. You should love yourself enough to have the right people in your life. The people that not only grow with you, but are proud of you for growing. The people that support you in that growth. The people that want to grow and be excited so both of you guys can be the best version of yourselves. That's who you want in your life. Not people that want to tear you down to make themselves feel better. They're the wrong people. So stop feeling like a hostage in your own life and gain the superpower ability to say no without fainting. And guess what? No is a complete sentence. I know that's not something we talk about a lot. I know that's not something we really think about and do in school, but no is a complete sentence. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I just felt the need to validate, not just for her, but for me as well, of like, you can say no and then not explain yourself. You can say no and not feel the need to explain to that person why no means no. You can simply say no. And I hated it growing up because I do think that, sometimes parents use it too broadly in an overbearing way. But as an adult, there are certain things with other adults I feel like because I said so is an appropriate response, especially when you're dealing with boundaries, especially when you're being honest, especially when you're trying to express your truth and someone is trying to lessen who you are. There is nothing wrong with looking at a person and looking at a situation and saying no, period, stop. I have nothing left to say. It's empowering. It's important. And especially for women, it's a big deal. You cannot let the world tell you that you have to have more, or you need to explain yourself or justify. And if you don't have a valid reasoning or you can't justify your choice, then it's not real. It's completely unhealthy. It's completely toxic. And we have to break that mold. I know that feels crazy, but the truth is you're actually betraying yourself. Honesty feels like betrayal to the other person when it's uncomfortable, but the truth is when you're not honest, you're actually betraying yourself. And we need to stop doing that. We need to love ourselves enough. We need to give more to ourselves. We need to love ourselves the way we would love a romantic partner, because we are just as valuable. So if you have to say no to something, no problem. The answer is no. Sit in that. Validate that. Love that about yourself. You'd be amazed at how much peace you will have when you stop explaining yourself to other people. It's completely unnecessary. I don't explain myself to people anymore. My mom used to say all the time, and I didn't fully understand it, where she would be like, your 20s are rough. And they are. We all understand that. There's no need to go further into that. But when you get to 30s, you start understanding different things, you start learning different things, and you realize you don't have to try that hard. And I used to think that she was just, being funny and making statements, and everyone tries to tell you, oh, when you get older, blah, 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 blah. But I got over 30 and I was like, you know what? She might have a point. I am tired. There are things I put up with in my 20s that I just don't have to anymore. I realize I can be better. I can do better. I love myself more. So you know what? I live with the idea that no means no. I love that. It's like my own version of do not disturb. The answer is no. End of discussion. And I sleep just fine at night. You should try it. It's awesome and amazing. And again, it's about setting boundaries. It's about setting healthy boundaries, and everybody needs those boundaries. People respect you as much as you respect yourself. So treat yourself with respect and love yourself enough to advocate for yourself with these healthy boundaries by being honest about what you feel like needs to be honest. Honesty is an act of love. So if you love yourself and you love the person that you're with, you're gonna be honest. So here goes. You can be honest, but don't panic. Here's your mission, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Say one unfiltered truth and start small. Like, I actually hate sushi, so no, I don't want to have it. Then sit with the discomfort for like 60 seconds without fixing it or softening it with a million emojis when you say it. Just let it ride. You said it, you spoke your truth, leave it there. And then notice who leans in versus who demands you to shrink back. Who says, okay, I heard you, we can move on. And another person that goes, well, that's ridiculous, you should change your mind. You can notice the difference between those people. Now, celebrate with the treat you would normally earn through suffering. Give yourself some wine, some ice cream, a nap, who cares? There are no rules here. Treat yourself. Tag me on Instagram at breathe_easy_coaching or on TikTok at lifecoaching_JasmineJ with hashtag no more lies. I'd love to celebrate your wins with you. Now go forward and be honest. Remember, you don't need permission to be great. And this is your call to rise, to reclaim your power, and to step boldly into the life you were meant to live. I believe extraordinary potential lives in all of us. The dreams we've tucked away, the voice that was softened, and the fire that's been waiting to burn bright. This journey isn't about fitting into someone else's mold. It's about shattering expectations and embracing your truest, most unapologetic self. No more shrinking or waiting for permission. The world needs your brilliance, your resilience, and your unique light. It's time to stop asking, am I enough? And start declaring, I am more than enough. Your next chapter begins now. Let's write it with courage, audacity, and unshakable belief in who you are. The unstoppable person isn't born, they're awakened. And that person is you. Now go start your revolution. This world needs your unshaken light today.